Alright, so a lot of you are wanting me to make a prediction video for Season 7 Jungle, so here it is. I'll tell you now that you cannot infer a lot from just jungle clears, but you can use it to reinforce some golden rules of the jungle, or to check whether or not some champions have a chance of being dethroned. Before I start, Nidalee didn't have a clear video because she's one of those champions who has to do her clears so perfectly or else she just gets butchered. Right now she could decimate the chickens, but if she fucks it up then they just tear her apart, which I honestly couldn't do consistently, so I stopped trying since I'd rather not deal with the angry types. Anyhow, here are some golden rules of the jungle that may or may not be reinforced by the clears. Number 1, tanks and support junglers are always the best junglers to use in the game if they are an option. What that means is if tanks and support junglers aren't struggling in their clears or just getting raffle stomped by other opponents, then they'll likely be taken to the jungle. In Season 6, a few junglers were so insanely dominant in more ways than just being picked. Nidalee's, Graves, Rek'Sai, and Gragas were so far and beyond better than the rest, and they easily preyed on tank and support junglers, thus effectively removing them from the game. Flexibility and reliability will always triumph over everything else by a large margin. Only massive exceptional champions can ignore this. Basically put, the safest junglers who can fulfill the most roles and fit the most teams tend to beat out everyone else, even if some other junglers are better ass junglers. The champions that simply do more and cannot be held back often will always beat the rest. The times where this is not true is when some junglers are blatantly overpowered and just force their power onto the game. Number 3, the most meta-relevant junglers will thrive unless the junglers are creating the meta. Essentially, the laners are what usually dictate the meta now, although jungle does have an influence, and as such the jungle picks that are made are often a response to what the laners do or need as backup. Junglers can and have dictated the flow of the game in the past and thus dictate what kind of laners get taken, but even then that too restricts what junglers are heavily favored. Number 4, junglers with poor clears are oftentimes doomed. This is exactly how it sounds, and it is one of those things a clear video can definitely show. If a jungler has a bad clear, then they likely are very vulnerable to their opponent's harass, and then they would be a liability. If they are too slow, then they might never be able to achieve anything since they can barely gain any levels and farm. Sometimes ganking prowess can make up for this, but oftentimes it just buries the jungler. And number 5, great clears is a positive but never a definitive factor. On the opposite spectrum, a jungler clearing really fast and or really healthy often doesn't really mean much other than they can do it very effectively. For sure, it can make junglers good in casual or solo queue games, but competitive often requires more from their junglers unless being really fast and farming really well is the meta right now. Anyhow, first some predictions of the status of the jungle. First off, Nidalee and Graves are still ridiculously fucking good. Perhaps Graves won't be competitive level again since he dropped off as of late, but he'll definitely still be a force for solo queue. Same with the ones you see right now like Olaf and shit. Second, invasions were both buffed and nerfed. They were buffed in the way that buff camps only have one camp to kill, so you can go in and out rather quickly. Nerfed in that you cannot freeze a lot of camps anymore, which is where you took all but one monster in the camp to prevent the respawn on it. At the same time though, the respawn times are a lot longer, so stealing it from the enemy can handicap them. However though, yet again it was nerfed in that actually invading is a lot harder now without being able to clear vision as easily with the chicken buff. Essentially, the act of doing invasions has been nerfed and made more dangerous, while the rewards only great in some areas, mostly the buff camps, since you can't totally clear certain camps in proper time. Third, the new jungles strive to freeze the top junglers a bit and raise the bottom ones some more. Basically, Riot tried to make it so every jungler had at least one part where they sucked, but another where they excelled, so they could artificially fix the early starts of junglers. Some top junglers can't handle chickens, so they're slowed down a bit, but some weaker junglers can absolutely destroy them, so it allows them to catch up. The smite heal is also a huge factor too, since a lot of top junglers don't really even benefit from it, while a lot of weaker ones benefit from it tremendously to the point where it makes their clears insanely better. In the past, every jungle change changed the power ladder for everyone by lowering it or raising it. People would think things were fixed because Riot made everyone better, But even if everyone was brought up, it would mean the top junglers are just even better. Season 5 tried to bring junglers down, but it only resulted in some junglers being worse while the better ones stayed at the top, and this continued on to Season 6. This time though, it seems Riot may actually have been able to at least slow down the top junglers and let the weaker ones climb higher. That leads me on to my fourth point. A lot of tank junglers are way stronger at clearing right now. Perhaps not enough to dethrone anyone, but enough to work with, and maybe some of them can return from the deaths they have sung. It may be that junglers like Nidalee will still prey on them, but we'll see. Some junglers like Nautilus are way healthier than they have ever been, and Zack's clearing is even more ridiculous than it was in Season 6. As far as which junglers I think will be strong just from this might not be a satisfying answer, but pretty much the status quo will be kept, while some of the borderline champions may finally see the final push they need to become god picks again. At least until Riot begins nerfing things. Some of the lesser junglers might get enough of a boost to be brought into consideration or be brought into like a tier 2 spot. I think Zack's clearing will get him in trouble and in the sights of Riot. I think Nautilus will be experimented with a little, since his clearing is a lot healthier now, but he's still super vulnerable to other junglers. But what does feel good is that weird junglers like Karthus are back and can be fun picks for people to use in more casual games. However, the assassin changes, if they stick around and are strong enough to define the meta, could bring forth a couple of junglers that fit the meta and thrive in it or deal with it. Vi already had a good clear, but she's one of those junglers who ended up getting even better at it through these changes. Her clearing is ridiculously good and proper for a jungler like her right now, and she's one of the single best junglers for an assassin meta. She can both assist assassins in the murder sprees or absolutely shit on them if she has to. On the same note, Jarvan thrives in an assassin meta, and the changes to the jungle have helped him tremendously. While they still did not boost his clear speed in any noticeable way, his sustain has improved quite a bit as long as you avoid the chickens. In this case, he may be a full-on teamfight jungler for the assassin meta, more so than Vi, so that could make him relevant over her in most situations. Still though, Vi's vastly superior clearing efficiency puts her ahead, at least in the predictions, since it makes her less vulnerable to other junglers. On a lesser scale, Pantheon could also thrive in a murder meta, but he's still as slow as ever and could be outpaced by everyone and hunted down by the likes of Nidalee. Even though I don't think she has the potential to be going around murdering as many champions, Poppy is a pretty good answer to a lot of assassins when it comes to team fights, and her jungling was insanely improved. While her clearing was above average before, it seems Season 7 changes were a humongous boost to her. So yeah, I am only making a few predictions because honestly the status quo will likely be kept, although tons of experimentation will occur during the first few weeks. The Assassin update will likely have the most effect on which junglers get taken if the Assassins stick around, and that's it. This channel is supported by my sponsors, Crunchyroll and Loot Crate. Check out the description below for links to the websites. Signing up for any trials, including Crunchyroll's free anime trial, greatly supports my channel. Also remember to give the video a like to support the channel and subscribe if you haven't yet. I've also made a Patreon now, and if you wish to support me through that medium, then I welcome it.